Adam Chapman, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. We've known each other for over a year now. You are the owner of Pad Pal, driveway sealing and window and gutter cleaning service here in Ottawa. You also do like Christmas light installations, and but you weren't always like this successful business person doing all this cool shit. When I met you, you were, very much still like in the hockey
hmm
world, and you've had a big stint in the hockey, playing for the, what was it, the CHL?
Yeah, playing the CHL.
Yeah.
hmm
So you played in the CHL, you went pro, you played at Carleton. Why don't we take it from there, from the beginning? Let's
hmm
talk about hockey and that whole story, and then how that led to business.
Well, yeah. Thanks again for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun to watch the podcast from like when I first met you, like you said, a year ago to seeing where it is at now. It's almost like a little surreal to be in the set here. Yeah, so it's been fun to watch you grow on that.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so I guess I did major junior hockey, so I played in the CHL. That was like a really good experience overall. Learned a lot of life lessons doing that. Um, Good experience to move away from home when you're 16 as well.
Right. Get
Um,
that freedom.
yeah, so it was. I know I was hard on my mom for like my brother and I both at the same time to leave. Um, but yeah, like overall, junior went really well, and then right when I finished, I signed in the East Coast Hockey League, and I was planning on doing the pro route, kind of grinding it out like a lot of guys do. Um, and then I ended up having that bad concussion, coming to Carleton, played hockey here, and then sort of fell into doing the business. And I guess we'll break it all down as we go
No,
here.
100%, man. Like that's a great like high level kind of overview of it all. But when I first met you, and we were just talking about like, how, you it wasn't like easy just because you were very good at hockey and like you excelled in that. You know, does the thing about like sports and athletics, right? Like when you're playing and you have that goal to go to the next level, and then even when you get a taste of that, like you kind of did, I feel like it's it's such a, like, you almost got like laser focused, like this is just it, that is the thing, right? And then when you get an concussion or injury or something that kind of takes away that identity, dude, it's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so tough on like you, because that's just what you've done,
hmm
that's what you've attached your identity to. And then it's just like, what else is there, like what's my value, what am I doing? And then how do you pivot from that? So talk to me about like kind of that point when you got the concussion, what was next?
Yeah, so kind of exactly what you're saying there. When you have done something every single day since you're 4 years old, that's the only thing you cared about. The only thing, like growing up, like school wasn't school wasn't a priority. The only priority in my life was hockey, and like it's like that for a lot of people that reach elite levels. So when I first had that concussion, like I was having convulsions, had to go to the hospital. It was bad, and kind of at that point you don't really see any, like you said, anything else. So when I had that concussion, they're like, oh, you probably should call it at least for a year, if not for good. Um, you really have no idea what to do, and it is a big issue with any sports for people that reach high level. You were mentioning, like you had an issue with football. I don't
Right.
know the whole story broken down, but I think any athlete has a hard time in going from a sport to a different aspect of life and trying to like recreate yourself, right? 'Cause all I ever was a hockey player. That
Hmm.
that is it. Like 100%, that is it. Like
Yeah.
nothing else. So yeah, at that time, like I really didn't see any future. Like it was definitely a hard time. Kind of like that last like 2 months before I came to Carleton. Just sort of hanging out at the like at pro, they like set you up in apartment and all that. So just hanging out there doing nothing. It was definitely a hard time, and not really knowing what to expect. I didn't have a clue what university was. Like kind of like floated through high school, if you even call. Like I didn't really even do it normal high school. So at the time there was no like answers. It was kind of just like, I guess, like hoping for the best and like getting better each day.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And then when was it that, you took kind of an interest in business? When was it, was this while you were at school? What was it that really made you think, you know what, like let me try this out, just see what's going on here.
Yeah, so I remember sitting in my first university class. It was like started in the winter, and then there was just this piece of paper going around to sign up for it was like a business program, like a student entrepreneurship program. So I signed up for that. I was like, okay, whatever. Thought I'd try it out. Like again, like I had no idea no idea who I was, what I was doing, and this piece of paper. So I signed up for that, and then I ended up getting accepted into the program. I had like an incredible mentor who he's 5 years older than me, maybe 6 years older than me, and he kind of had everything I wanted to have. So I just more or less latched onto him and listened to whatever he said and just grinded it out.
What'd you learn from him? Like, what was it about? What made you guys click?
That's a good question.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. No, so his name's Justin, and similar to me, like he had sort of not the ideal like upbringing. He had to struggle a lot, and
Yeah.
he had a lot of that financial pressure on himself. And he's made like a name for himself, doing well in the business. So I guess like he saw a lot of that in me, and me and him connected on that. Some of the biggest things he taught me was just like managing your time.
That's a big one, man.
Yeah. So like, it's like you go from thinking you're busy to when you kind of audit your week and seeing where your time goes. There's a lot more time in the week than people like to admit.
Yeah, that's a big thing that kind of even recently, man, like with kind of the stuff that I'm doing, I've had to do that audit and just sit down and write, man, like where's all the time going in the day? I feel like I'm doing so much, but nothing's really getting done.
Yeah.
And doing that audit, I like that because you break down and like you legit just observe like what did I do today. And one big thing that I found, man, is like I waste a lot of time doing low level tasks that aren't really even that important. They just make me feel important or busy or whatever you want to call it, like checking emails, like responding to like DMs. As much as I love to do that, it's not like the most important thing I should be doing in my day, right? And you realize in this social media world, in this world where things are constantly fighting for your attention, that you task switch a lot. And when you're switching between task after task, doing a little bit of this, you're actually getting nothing done. There's no deep work there, you know? So that's a big one. The time management thing. I think that's something a lot of people, would be surprised how little you're actually doing in a day.
Yeah. No, there's 168 hours in the week, right? So it's like you audit that. It's like, okay, if you're going to work 40 hours, there's still have a lot of time left over. So it's an easy way. Also, I use it with my guys or like people when I'm mentoring them is like, oh, like I didn't have time. Okay, like how many hours did you work? How many hours did you sleep? Okay, where's the other 50 hours? Like there is time, but
browsing your phone. You got to eat, shower, those kinds of things. But even if you put aside another 30 hours, you still have time to do the things. And everyone says that they like want to do all this, like, oh yeah, I want to do my side hustle, I want to start a business, I want to do a podcast, okay, great. But like if you're spending 3 hours watching Netflix a day, do you want it so bad that you'd cut that new season of whatever show out? Like, do you want it so bad that even like I actually think, and this is where like my mind's going right now, but I think there's information overload in like the world that we live in. There's a million people who are successful in business and they're trying to like tell you how to be successful in business. You just have to buy my book and my course and my this and that, and you will be successful. But it's just like there's 50 courses like that, and then people will just consume and not actually do anything. And that's why I have like such tremendous respect for you, is because you actually did something. Like not only did you have like a mentor and like whatever, you joined this business club and whatever, you actually like kind of applied that shit to start your business. So let's get into that a little bit. Let's talk about what you were able to then apply to actually make that jump to start.
So from taking it from like having someone coaching me to going on my own?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I kind of had like a transition. So the business that I'm doing now, it's extremely similar to what it was before. Like I had to end that agreement. Like obviously we ended on good notes, a good note. Like he was also working on other projects as well. But the fundamentals of kind of what you like learn in plays, it transfers over to everything. So for instance, I built that, like I started when I was doing the mentorship program, like it's under their brand name. You start that going door to door.
Yeah.
Like that is like that's the thing, is like it's not, there is no secret to that. Like that was just straight knock on a door. Like I started in
Grind.
yes. Yes, like that's the thing. It's like there's a million, there's unlimited amount of money in the world. Like there's tons of money there. Like that's something for people, is like if you just want to pick one thing, if you're going to put the work in, then you can be successful in
You
that.
just got to get in the way of it. Yeah.
You just got to, like, the first like beginning is the hardest. Like if I
Yeah.
look back at it now, like if I realized how much work would be involved to get to the point it is now, it's like it's intimidating. But when you're at the beginning and you're seeing those little milestones, like again, like it started just in middle of February. My girlfriend at the time would drive the car down the road, be like -20. Like I'm knocking on doors about window cleaning in the spring. People are like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? But then again, then you start getting some jobs booked in, and then building, like kind of building the confidence. So overall, like the biggest thing I've learned from Justin is sort of, I guess it would be like putting into practice and being accountable. Like
Yeah.
if you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Right.
Being honest. And then at the end of the day, yeah, like just no one else is going to do it for you. Like you have to figure out your answers. Like for one thing for him was, if he tells you something one time, he won't tell you it again. So just like kind of knowing that at the end of the day, like the answers are there. Like everyone knows how to use Google. He'll tell you something and teach you the best he can, but after that, it falls on yourself. Like the last podcast you had, the guy was talking about is doing his courses for the SEO, and he made a point saying that you can give them the course, but at the end of the day, the other 99% of it is the work ethic.
1,000%, man. It is that work ethic, and it's, one thing you mentioned there is like, like sticking to your word when you say that you're going to do something. And for me, there's this like level of integrity that you have to have with yourself before even anyone else. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and then you hit snooze 5 times, and you already lost a battle with yourself. You made a deal with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I'm going to do this thing. And, we've all had moments of motivation and like, I'm going to make this big, massive change. And like, dude, I'm going to just wake up and take cold showers and do like all this fucking bullshit. Right. But is that like, I don't think that's lasting change if you don't take that first step and be honest with yourself. Like, you know what, maybe you don't wake up at 5 a.m. the first day because you know that in the past you've fallen 50 times trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So why not start with 7:30? You're like, if you normally wake up at 9, wake up at 7:30. Like, just do that. And then every week, like, dial it back another half an hour or something. But it's like making a deal with yourself. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something I practice. And it's like, I do this because like, just, I have to trick myself into doing shit sometimes. Like, one thing I'm working on right now, I legitimately have an addiction to my phone. It's always on me. I love the dopamine hit of getting like a notification or something. It just feels like it's actually like fuel.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And it's like very, very like unhealthy, especially for your mental health, right? I've even found myself like in the middle of the night, like just like, when you just wake up or roll over and you just check your phone, just even to see what time it is, and you see the text and you see the shit. Bro, that is so unhealthy. Like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to leave my phone in a different room when I'm doing like actual work, like where I need to be completely focused and productive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helped me so much, like be actually productive, like actually get shit done. And little things like listening to like some instrumental kind of music in the background, that, or like even EDM or whatever it is, just playing like consistent shit, or like synth wave type beats and that kind of stuff, just like gets you your mind juices going. But having constant distractions is such a rabbit hole. And like I think I think we think we're a lot better multitaskers than we are.
Mhm.
And so for me, like that was a big thing. It's like I think that I'm this like fucking great productive ass person,
Yeah.
right? But after doing that audit and shit, I'm like, dude, I suck. Like I'm trying to do too much and failing at everything. So I made a fucking deal with myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if I'm gonna like actually try to make this change, I gotta limit how much I'm using that thing
Mhm.
because I'm a slave to that now. So
Yeah.
you know, that's just one little thing, but you know me, I'm always trying some different shit to
Yeah.
kind of level up, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important, like sorry to go on this big random
Oh, no, it's
tangent,
good. Yeah.
but I think it's important to and the other thing you said is like saying something only once.
Mhm.
Now that's like, man, I gotta like, even with people on my own team or people who I work closely with, I always find myself having to like repeat myself. So
Mhm.
that's like a something I want to work on as well. Now that I think about it, it's like I want to just be able to just say something once and like everyone just go and do
Yeah.
the thing, you know. But that's a whole thing on its own, you know.
Mhm.
How have you found that with your own business? Like when you first started, you know, it was just like you, like you said, right? But then once you started to grow it a bit and you had to start working with people, what was that shift like for you?
Yeah, so let me just like backtrack you
Yeah,
there. It's
for sure.
interesting you brought the phone up. So
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Uh, his name's David Perel, I believe. He's from Ottawa as well. He's an author.
He's from Ottawa?
Yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah,
Dude, I follow him on Twitter and he's got like the best writing course ever.
yeah, yeah. So one of my good friends is like obsessed with him too. I don't know who stumbled upon him, but yeah, he's like, I'm about 99% sure he's like from Ottawa.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll have to fact check that, but
No, for
but yeah,
sure.
like from what I understand, he's from Ottawa. But I was listening to a podcast with it was him, and I forget who was the guest was, but they were talking about your phone addiction, and I'm like, yo, phone addiction is a thing. Like they were talking about the dopamine hit. You even if you know there's nothing there, you're refreshing. Like you're sliding that because the brain wants to make sure there is nothing left to do, right?
Holy shit.
There's actually a good movie on Netflix, The Social Experiment. I watched that
Started
too.
watching it, man. I
Yeah.
started watching it. You want to hear the darkest thing? Actually, I was watching it last night.
Yeah.
During the movie,
On your phone.
I went on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm checking social media. I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Why are they so right? Like,
Yeah.
I still need to finish it, but great,
Mhm.
great movie. Really eye opening, man.
Yeah.
I recommend everybody watch that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's that some of that stuff we like, and again, like university, some stuff, a lot of it I think is just whatever, but that is some of the stuff that like in my program we talked about and learned. But the point they're making with the phone is when you wake up, like instead of saying 20 minutes or I'm gonna not touch my phone for an hour, or with anything in habits, it's about doing one small thing. So instead of saying, oh, I'm not gonna touch my phone for an hour, say 5 minutes, which this morning I said, okay, I'm gonna do 15 minutes, like because I'm not too crazy bad in the morning. Like most times I have to get up and go, like I'm going. But this morning doing the 15 minutes, got up, did everything, like went to the gym, made sure to leave my phone upstairs, came up, and then I was like, okay, that was well over 15 minutes. But normally it is that thing, roll over and touch it. But I think the problem with people with doing habits, and everyone is guilty of it, myself included, is you try to like bite off more than you can chew. Like for me, it was when I first moved here, I had like a lot of, I don't want to like, I got in a little bit of trouble. Like I kind of had that like, I don't know another word, but kind of like a shithead. Like I had a chip on my shoulder, I guess. Like,
yeah.
so like when I first got here, it was like being honest, doing the right thing. Like that was the two things for me, was like doing the right thing, being honest. Like don't.
And taking it back for a second, do you think that like your chip on your shoulder, that attitude, whatever whatever you want to call it, was that from your experiences with hockey and like just I'm almost, I'm not to put words in your mouth, but like I'm top shit, like I'm a fuck shit up, I'm a party, I'm like whatever, or it's like, or was it just how you were brought up and whatever, like defense mechanism, like what did you think that was?
Yeah, I put me on the spot. I think every hockey guy obviously has a bit of that, like, yeah, like kind of cockiness, and some definitely I guess some people definitely have it like a bit more than others. I think a little bit from the hockey thing, like you're finishing junior, yeah, you think you're hot shit. And also like I guess just like, yeah, like growing up and kind of having that like survival like mentality, like kind of makes you look at different situations. Like
like I'm a dog, I'm a lone wolf. No one's gonna fucking protect me. I gotta take care of me. I gotta get mine, kind of thing.
yeah, like a little bit like yeah, like whatever to get ahead. And I'm still have that mentality. Okay, like if it's like if I have to do something, if it's gonna like whether it be like monetary or even it's just like okay, I have to do this, like it has to be done, I still do it. Versus not like before, it was kind of more or less same idea, but it had that negative, like at whatever cost, that negative aspect that can be seen to it as well. Like the like I won't say cutting corners, but
At any cost.
yeah,
Just
at any
any
cost.
cost.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, and like kind of that defensive, like yeah, like a little bit like
I
yeah.
feel that, bro. I feel that.
I
I
don't know what
get
to
that.
call that,
I
but
don't know what that is either, but I think chip on the shoulder is the best way to
mm,
put it. It's like I wouldn't call it arrogant
mhm.
necessarily, but it's just like this, you know, I got like I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
very interesting thing. You got me stumped too,
yeah,
because it's a very real thing what
mhm,
you're describing there. But sorry to like bring it back to that.
yeah.
But what were you talking about right before that? Like how in university, like what you took to then go into the business.
Yeah, so yeah, like I had and honestly, like I did the university. I never planned on doing it. I'm happy. I am really happy I did it. Like it's like I was the first person from my family like at all to graduate, so that was like
Congrats,
I was
man.
happy about that.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, like we can just be straight up on this podcast, right?
Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
man. I would want nothing else, dude.
Man, like university overall, like again, like I went in there completely like blank slate, not having a clue. Like I didn't know how it all worked, like oblivious to the whole setup, and doing it again. Like if you're gonna go to university, unless you're like being a doctor, a nurse, a dentist, like
Something where you need that cred.
where you need that cred, yes, but that is when I think it's worth going to university. And if you're going to go to university and do a different program, if you're there and like socializing, getting involved in other clubs, meeting new people, then I think there's value in it. But for anyone that's doing like a communications or a sociology degree right now, and you're spending how much ever it is for university
So much.
to do it online, I think that is the biggest waste of money in the world. Like you you get a comms degree, like this communications degree. If you just go use that piece of paper for what it is, it's a waste of money. It is 100% a waste of money. Like there's so much more value online. Whatever you want to learn, higher income skills, that is $500. You could learn how to do Facebook ads, SEO, like your guest yesterday, specialize in that. And again, you're not going to have the government like cushy kind of fallback, like, oh, I'm going to do this for 40 years kind of idea, which a lot of people prefer. But if you're willing to bet on yourself, I would like 100% invest in myself on that versus doing the traditional university route. I think university system's a little like indoctrinating and extremely dated.
Extremely.
Like it's
Dude, I could not agree more with every word you just said. And this is also coming from someone who made it out the other side.
mhm,
And I did get that piece of paper. But I studied international business thinking, oh, I like to travel. I like business. That sounds kind of
yeah,
cool. I didn't want to do science or this or that. Like, so I'm just like, I landed on business
mhm,
school. And so, um, I hate to kind of make blanket statements, but it's just I couldn't agree more. Like you could learn so much more. But you know what the problem is it's not even the like university. It happens before that. It's when you're in high school and you're in grade. I think I know exactly like when it's like actually now you're fucked because it's grade 10 when you got to make the jump to grade 11 and they're already telling you the types of courses that you choose. At least you're in Canada. I don't know
mhm,
how it works everywhere in the world, but the types of courses you choose, academic or applied, is going to dictate whether or not you can have the credits to go to university, which for whatever reason we've been told is more prestigious than, let's say, college or like what do they call it, a certification
yeah,
or like
like a
whatever.
trade, yeah,
Yeah, like a trade or like a what do they call it, apprenticeship?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, all those things. So whatever.
And the crazy,
Yeah, no, go ahead, go
the
ahead.
crazy thing is like, so I meet tons of people every day with the business. Like I'm all over Ottawa, and I guess see every sort of like, again, we more cater, I guess, to like middle upper class, like it's expensive services, but like a lot of those big houses that you see out in Manotick, out in Greeley,
Trades, baby.
they 95% of them are trades. They do custom kitchens, they do custom bathrooms, and they're they're laughing, right? Like again, like depending on how far we want to break this down, like a lot of people are taking on debt for school. If you're graduating $40,000 in debt, your government job that you hope you get is 50, 60.
Yeah.
You can show up there every day, work your hardest, and you're going to get slight increases throughout the rest of your life and then retire. And that's something that I since graduating though, like seriously, like I've running into people and they're like, oh, I'm like, oh, how do you like it? And they're like, oh, it's like whatever, like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's like, I'm like,
Pays the bills,
yo, like
good
you're
pension,
way too
stable job.
yeah.
Oh, I hear all that, dude.
And
I'm
I
a
get
government worker. I know
yeah,
this,
no, I
trust
know
me.
you are. Like,
Yeah.
and I know you are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just here roasting it
No,
in
no,
front
no,
of you.
no, no, dude.
But
Please go for
and
it.
I respect it, because everyone's situation is different, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you can apply the like similar idea to like taking chances versus not. And I'm all for like, yeah, like doing one, and then it's again like kind of going backtrack of what you do with the rest of your time. But if you're not happy at what you're doing now, you're 25 years old, and you're talking about 40 years from now, and you don't have something else going on the side that you're trying to build up, you're kind of living life backwards. I feel like you're wasting, especially now you have all the opportunity in the world. If you don't have kids, you have tons of time to mess up. And I know it sounds, people might not kind of see it this way, but
you gotta say it because I think people gotta hear it, bro. You got no one to blame but yourself if you're in that position, you're complaining about it, and you see all these people, because this is really what it is, right? At the end of the day, you see all these people living the life that you want to be living. You see people traveling, you see people, whatever,
Yeah.
they see the Gary V's and they see the whatever, and they get all like envious, like yo, fuck, I want that life. Oh, what did he do? How did he start a business? Oh, he must have had handouts. He must have had like, oh, he was lucky, like blah blah
Yeah.
blah, he had this privilege, that privilege. Nah, man, if anyone like gets to know you, they know that like you're not in a fucking extremely privileged position. You had financial struggles like at a certain point, right? But you were able to fucking build something that now is,
yeah,
it's easy to look at you now and I think like this is just a start for you, by the way. But it's easy for someone outside looking in to be like, oh dude, like he got fucking lucky, like he just picked this thing and like it was in demand and people needed it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to write that off. But coming back to like what we're talking about there with school and stuff, it's like, yo, it's right there. If you actually really want it, why don't you take some time away from the shit that's not bringing you towards your goal and start investing in yourself? I think that's the biggest point here, is not to shit on uni. Bro, like if that's what you really, after everything that you see, all the evidence, if you still think that that's the way that you're going to be successful, yo man, more power to you. Like, go for it. But just look around, just open your eyes. Like debt, opportunity cost, think of that time, 4 or 5 years. One. What could you have been doing in those 4 or 5 years? What skills could you have picked up? What 10 things could you have failed at to learn about yourself? Like, I fucking hate SEO.
Yeah.
I hate copywriting.
Yeah.
I hate trades, but I kind of like marketing. I kind of like digital ads. Social media. I like the consumer behavior side of it. Let me scratch that itch. Let me go to the fucking library for free, read 10 books about it. Take that, like literally, like free.
Yeah.
If you're interested, then okay, you know what? Let me apply some of this. Let's see if like I could do this for a friend of mine for free. Let's just see, like, yo, it's for free.
Yeah.
Let me run your social media. Just running with that. Okay, boom. You did it for the friend. He's happy. Now you got like a testimonial. I'm oversimplifying, but now you have 4 testimonials. Now you go out to a business. You're like, hey, I'll do this for you. And you probably severely undercharge yourself because you don't know the value of money yet. Right? So you do that. they're like, fuck yeah, like
Yeah.
absolutely. Now you got your first deal, you get that rush.
Yeah.
Like I know that rush because
Yeah.
like when I got my first like sale,
Yeah.
dude, I remember I walked outside, I'm like fucking smashing like buckets. I'm feeling like a
Yeah.
fucking beast. I'm on
Yeah.
cloud nine. I'm like, yo, you don't fucking don't fuck with me, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got my first check, you know, and
Everyone should enjoy that experience of not just waiting for it to come in every 2 weeks, man, for sure. And you kind of said don't want to oversimplify it, but I think people overcomplicated it. Like, for instance, like you starting like doing any of the digital media, it's like you can go and you could walk in right now. There's a car dealership just around the corner from here. Knock on the thing, and think of what you want to do. Knock on a business and say, hey, you don't even have to know how much you're going to charge. If they say yes, then figure out how much you're going to charge. Charge, like you said, charge not that much. Do a good job and go from there.
yeah.
And like again, like you're saying there, that first sale, that is
Oh,
so
man.
I still remember like thousands and thousands of houses. I still remember which house it was. Like I remember the interaction. I remember
So
like
validated.
oh
right?
man, like I remember like going to the quote and then like I'm walking around outside taking the measurements down. The guy wanted everything too. And then I like take the measurements and like I'm trying to do the math and it's crazy to think at how much I've grown since that, right? So I'm there in person, scheduled it. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to do the square footage and stuff. And like I can't even do numbers. So I'm like, okay, like give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna go to my car and figure this out. Like, well, I'm gonna put it together for you. I don't see I'm gonna go figure out how I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
But like I'm just like, hey, like I'm gonna go put it together for you. Give me 5 minutes. I call my girlfriend and I'm like, hey, like I don't know what to do. Like should I just drive away? Like
Oh, yeah.
what do I do?
Mini
Like
freak out.
yeah.
Like,
So then I'm like, hey, like he wanted siding cleaning, window cleaning, gutters. So I just walked in there. I'm like, yeah, it's $500. Like, and again, I did some math, but she was like, oh no, like, and she at the time was like insanely helpful for just getting me like the little baby steps of getting on the right track
confidence. Yeah.
and getting that confidence going. And then when I got that, I'm like, hey, it's 500. He's like, sure. I'm like, I walk out of there and I'm like, yo,
you're almost like, you sure? Like, I don't know, man, 500. Like, you almost talk yourself out of it. And that's the mental component of sales that, like, no one ever taught me. I did 4.5 fucking years of business school. No one taught me how to make a sale. No one taught me that if I look in the mirror and I tell myself, yeah, our services are $3,000, and you say it with such fucking confidence that you believe it.
Yeah.
You almost have this like big dick energy where it's just like, you know what? Yeah, it's $3,000. And if someone has a problem with that, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I wish someone taught me that because I had trouble telling someone $500 for something that I know is worth more, you know? But it's like that mental game. It's crazy, man.
And that is 100% a thing too. I remember the first time I said $1,000. I'm like, yo, who? I'm like, yo, I'm in the, again, my first year, I'm like, yo, I'm actually about to walk. And again, at the time, a lot of our jobs were in Rockcliffe. So like big houses. I'm like, yo, do I have the balls right now to walk in there and be like, yo, we're going to clean your windows for $1,100? Because at the time, when you don't have money, like when you only have a couple grand to your name, $1,100, I'm like, yo, that's like a third of my net worth on this guy's windows.
That's crazy.
But then, like you said, like once you, and I tell this to my guys all the time, like all my sales guys, like if you don't believe that you're providing them with value, you won't be able to sell it. But if you know that you're showing up there, let's say we're doing driveway sealing, their driveway needs it, and you're going to help save them money, or like for instance for you, we're going to help get this business more traction. They're paying us $3,000, but we're going to bring them business. We're going to make them more than that. And you believe in that, you can charge more.
Yeah.
Like I remember going from $500, like, oh my God, that's a lot, to $1,000. But then now it's like when I'm like putting out some big quotes, like like big quotes, and I'm now able to be like, okay, like,
well, for people who don't know, like you've done how many now? How many like houses?
Oh man,
total?
It's this.
You can't keep track, huh?
But
But
thousands.
it's more than that though. Now you're doing commercial. I remember I'm on social media one day. I see this motherfucker sealing Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not, you don't just wake up and start like doing work at Timmy's, bro. Like, so first of all, congratulations, man.
Thank you
like,
very much.
your journey is very inspiring to me, and you play a part in like whatever I'm doing as well. Cause I'll never forget that chat that we had, you know. I was still in a very not confident place yet in where I want to go. You know, I was very straight up with you. Like, yeah, you know, I got this job, but I don't love it. And I want to do this and that, but I don't know what my thing is yet. And so maybe I still don't know what that is, but I'm going to just figure it out. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, if anyone's listening and like they think that starting a business or doing some kind of thing, even on the side or like even freelancing, like, you know, if they have like any kind of skill that people might want and they think it's just too big or like too scary or whatever, just get that first. Just do that first thing. I'm telling you, it's so addictive. Like I just wanted to chase that. And that's, you know, a whole separate topic that's kind of unhealthy as well. But
Yeah.
fuck it, dude. If it fuels you, it fuels you. Like I'll be straight up. When I first saw that, like, you know, check for, you know, like $7,000, I'm like, bro, what? This is double what I make in my job in a month.
Yeah.
What is going on?
You start valuing your time more though too.
100%. I started getting root the bro. I don't cook anymore. I'm like, fuck it. I was talking to my buddy Hayden, and we were on a call, and he's just like, yeah, man, like I use this service because like I did the math, and I'm actually losing money by doing groceries and cooking and this and that. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What? Huh? I hate doing all that shit. So like, why don't I do the same? So
Hayden Cashin?
Yeah.
I haven't met him. I'm meeting him on Friday actually.
Okay, yeah. You're gonna click really well with him. Great guy, dude. Great guy.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm meeting with him, and then meeting with a call with Mallory. She was a guest before.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Ottawa's good for that, man. With like the more like if you see anything you want, seek it out. It's there. So like, for instance, well, back to your one little point when you said like me and you meeting at the coffee shop. You were like, I felt like if I roasted you that day for your podcast, like you're at that point where you would have came here, would have been like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do that. Like I could feel that in you though. Like at the time, if I was like, yo, honestly, man, I just called you here to say, yo, this podcast is brutal. Like, but the thing is, like, nobody's gonna ever do that.
Yeah.
And now look at a year from now, it's like you have some serious traction and
appreciate that, man.
Big time, man. Seriously. And it's podcast is the long-term game. It's like, and people see, oh, Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan at one time was doing it. Every single person that has any sort of followers, any sort of income, some people obviously, like, there are certain situations where they fall into it, but most millionaires are first generation.
That's true. I actually, well, yeah, I've heard that before, but I never really thought about it. That's so true, man. It's like being self-made is a very weird thing because you're kind of going against everything that society wants you to do, and that you've been, I hate to use this word, but that you've been programmed to kind of be that good little employee, be that, you know, that person who's just gonna, you know, work those 40 years to get that nice pension and maybe get a boat. And like, you know what I'm saying?
Trying to get a boat sooner than that, bro.
That's what I'm saying, man. And that's like the, you know, the big thing. And I really do appreciate the compliments with the podcast, but it very much so it is a long-term game. And I think that's how you do have to kind of look at any kind of content creation, because if I did get caught up in what, you know, Adam thought about my shit, I would have quit very early on. Like, and that's no offense to you or anybody. Like, if I paid attention to the negative comments, or even if I paid too much attention to the positive comments, I would not be doing this today, because you can't tie your worth now to what it will be if you compound this over years. Like, I want to be doing this when I'm 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea what that exponential curve looks like if you stop it at the beginning of what, you know, is going to fucking go up. And I know it will. Like, I actually know in my bones, I feel that, you know, whatever that success metric to me is, it will be a fucking massive podcast. Like, whatever, that's not just downloads. To me, that's impact. Like, to me, that's the DMs that I get from people like, yo, dude, this really inspired me. Or, yo, like, I'm quitting my job. Like, I get those now, and it freaks me out because I'm just talking shit with my friend.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's legit, though. It's real. It's honest. It's authentic. Yeah. And man, like you're saying, like, this is 1 year, and like, I found for my first 4 years doing the business, like, again, like, it's you feel the snowball momentum. But this year, and again, like, it could be podcast next year. Some people blow up in a year. Some people it's 7 years. You know what I mean? Like, guys like what was it, Mr. Beast? Like, like again, like he's been posting, like it's
Yeah.
just going. And it took him like 7 years. Other people, they blow up in 1 year. Like
Don't compare yourself. That's
it's
the big thing.
consistency is what it is.
Consistency is the name of the game. And you know what? I'm doing this out of my fucking studio
Yeah.
apartment. You're here.
Yeah.
You see this.
Yeah, like it's fun. It's
You
cool
know,
to hear. Yeah.
but it's not like I have some next level big ass professional studio and I got, you know, an insane amount of equipment. But I have to recognize that I did put a little bit of an investment in this to
Yeah.
make it what it is, to like what I'm comfortable putting out. And so when I say that, like when I talk about that, the reason is because you don't have to have all this to start a podcast. You could literally use your smartphone, and like if you have a smartphone, which chances are if you're listening to this right now, you probably
Yeah.
do. You can be a content creator, but the problem is most people. I think the statistic for podcasts at least is 7 episodes. Most people don't make it past 7 episodes because
okay.
they don't get enough like validation or they don't feel like it's worth it enough. But if you just stick with it, man, like I think there's one thing someone told me really early on that it keeps me going, and it's like you only need 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
And I read that essay, and I actually was mind blown. Like it's all right there. Like
Yeah.
you might not be like a multi-millionaire. You might not be Joe Rogan with $150 million deals or
Yeah.
something, but if you just want to live a life where you're just living off your content, your creation, you need 1,000 people who really fuck with you,
Yeah.
who will buy your shit, who will come to your shows, who will buy your book, who will share your story. You need 1,000 of those.
Yeah.
I think like, yo, we could all get 1,000 fans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, like I signed up right away for your thing. That's another thing and the other thing too is 1,000 fans. It comes a lot easier when you have a couple of people in your corner rooting for you, right? Like that is huge, and that's one thing like that. Like obviously, I know you will get there with the podcast eventually. Like anyone can achieve what you want if you do it consistently, do it right. Like no matter what it is, like you will see the success. And I do feel that a lot of people need to support each other. Like you see, for instance, I see you see you right now. I mean, you're in your house right now. Like, there's people right now that will like, okay, what, like I know him, whatever. Like he has a podcast. They might click on a like here. They might not even follow. Some people won't even follow your podcast here.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, 15 years from now, you sign a Spotify deal for $5 million. Oh, I know him. Like I know him. Like oh, that's the thing that you see it, and that's one thing that's like for me. I'm like like you're not like, and it's not something you keep track of. Like I don't keep a tally card on that. But
Yeah.
there's people right now that don't give a shit about your podcast.
Right.
That 10 years from now when you're doing well,
Oh yeah, I'm his
boy,
guy,
I'm his
yo.
boy. Oh yeah, like, and that's man, that's the thing. That's and every stage along the way there will be certain like variations of that, right?
Have you experienced that with the business? Like people kind of coming out of the woodwork, seeing some of your success, or like anything like that, or
this is the year, like you said earlier about people saying, oh, like it was kind of easy, or this is the year, I guess, because I sort of I hit that point this year where one day I was like sitting in my room, like the money's flowing, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm unless I do something extremely stupid, like if I just keep doing what I'm doing right now, I know I'm gonna have everything I wanted in life and more. Like I have, like, it's for the first time, like that was the first time in my life I've been sitting there, like being able to see, okay, no matter what I do, it's gonna go well.
Yeah.
And like if I keep doing this, I'm gonna be wealthy. I'm gonna have what I want. But yeah, like at the beginning, like my first year, people, because it's not a glamorous thing, right? Like everyone wants to do like an ad agency or like everyone wants to do something sexy. But so yeah, like people, I guess at the beginning would kind of make jokes about that, and like a few people made like kind of like inappropriate comments about it, and you like, and at times something like, oh, like you would not take as much pride in it. Like I wouldn't take as much pride in the company. It's not like I said, not glamorous.
That's something I really wanted to talk to you about here. I'm really glad you brought that up, because it's like a natural thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about. Is like why is that? Why is it that people, like, I don't want to say look down, but almost like, because it's not the sexy, the big
Yeah.
fucking fancy with like suits and fucking
Yeah.
charts and Excel sheets and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not that, what makes it any less valid? Like, I think you've built a fucking amazing business that's clearly in demand.
Yeah.
And something you talked to me about was, from the service perspective of things, that you're always like, there's wealthy people who don't want to do anything, and it's so true, man.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with that? Like, that you're providing that service, like, bro, I'm a huge believer in that, dude. My first job was mowing lawns. Like, I did it for like the whole street.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, dude, I'm gonna mow lawns. I'm gonna do driveways. I'm gonna like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that money, however, by any means. But obviously, I've gone a bit of a different route. But how, like, do people? I don't know. It's just so frustrating
No,
that people
it's
think that because you might be getting your hands a little dirty, that you're. It's like it's like a class thing almost. It's almost like like he's a like blue collar. I don't know.
yeah, no, it is a real, and the thing is, even my own mindset at the beginning, it's like, I've always been like, okay, okay, like it makes money, and like, but there's been like, for the first while, honestly, it's something I kind of kept secret. Like, I'm like, oh, it's not, even myself, I looked at, I'm like, oh, like, we're doing cleaning, and we're doing like driveway sealing. It is a dirty job, like and people do 110%. Like, even when I say, oh, like I own like a property management company, people, like, you can tell their first impression, it's not, there's like, oh, like they're like, oh, they'll say, oh, that's cool. But again, like, you can read people, like, you can tell in their head that like, when they're like putting a level on it,
yeah,
instantly
they're ranking it.
Oh, well, if someone, like, most people our age, if someone's like, oh yeah, I gotta do kitchens, their interest level goes to the floor. Okay, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, like, people that are doing the trades, that's where the money's at, and it's the opportunity is massive for services, because more and more people look down on trades, and I guess that's just like, kind of like, I guess you were saying, like, kind of built in within our society, like, but there's the demand is insane. There's always gonna be demand. But yeah, people just have to swallow their ego on that. But it 100% is a thing that
it is, and it's so weird to me. I don't personally get it. Obviously, when some, like, I don't know, maybe because I always try to look at another person's side when they think something, right? But it's like, if you see like a dirty young dude in like construction boots and coming from like a job site in the whole thing, our minds, I guess, maybe put that person in this box of like, maybe they're not as high educated. Maybe that was the only job they could get. These like stereotypes, right? But if that dude works 5 years in that trade, making 120K a year, he put away even half of that and was able to learn the trade, like whether it be landscaping or this, that, learn it enough. Those guys don't even have to do advertising because they have too many jobs coming in. It's literally like, oh my God, I just started this because I like doing this and I know how to lay bricks or do whatever. And they don't even like, they look at people like me, like who do like digital media or whatever. It's like, what a fluffy bullshit business. Like, why would, like, you're not even doing anything, you know what I'm saying? And I get that perspective too.
Yeah, both sides look at each other. Yeah,
it's almost like I would love to fucking bring them together. Like, let's have a chat.
And it's interesting. I run like, so Pad Pal is real, like again, like the work itself is really like dirty, like kind of typical, like old school, same way it's always been done. But like, I'm big on the, like, also like the software side, and like I've got
you've automated systems now, so that you have removed yourself from the work. Let's talk about that. That's something I want to talk about. We're at about 50 minutes now on this podcast, 50? If you can believe it. Jesus, we're almost at 50 minutes, if you can believe it. So we got to wind it down soon, but I definitely wanted to talk about this. So talk to me about that a little bit. Taking your business, I know you said this was a great year for you. Talk to me about how you were able to take it from, I just do driveways and window cleanings myself, maybe with one or two guys, to now I got a fucking team. Like that's not an easy jump to make.
No, the most like the most important thing is having good team, and every single guy I have right now, every single person I have on like within my team is incredible. I'm trying to add more. Adding more people is the hardest part of it.
Good,
And
reliable people who are gonna wanna.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So like when I first started, I only had two guys working for me, and then it's three, then it's yeah, it just keeps adding on. And like this year by far is my best group of guys. And there is no easy answer to that. Like that is the number one thing that I have a hard time doing, was like recruiting people and doing that. But once I
yeah.
have someone,
HR and systems, bro. That's not
yeah,
easy.
yeah, no, like the like just like putting up the applications on like I lost my assistant about a month ago. You yeah, like I was,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of one thing version to another, and
Yeah.
then yeah, so I lost my assistant, so I'm trying to find a new assistant to take care of that aspect. But managing people is the hardest thing. The thing I do with all my like all everyone that's on my team is like I treat them with respect. Like I'm more than fair with them. I treat them really well. I'm honest with them. Tell them if I tell them something is going to happen, and then I expect that out of them. And then if it doesn't come, if they've all like had one or two times where they've messed up, and then they see that side where I can be like
Yeah. Yeah.
bang,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
there are times where like you have to just get rid of someone to set an example. But that is one of the hardest parts, is navigating that.
Managing humans, dude.
Oh
It's such
man,
a weird
yeah.
thing. It's tough, man.
In terms of systemizing it though, just all this like all the online stuff like is automated. By next year, hopefully having it so people can fully build their own quote, schedule it based on postal code. Been working on that a lot on the back
Sweet,
end.
man. Yeah, and I see from well, before I move on to that perspective, but basically I from do you have like checklists? Did you have like a bunch of processes and procedures so that you could, in theory, take anybody from the street, plug them in a position, and teach them how to do this thing? Or was it more like you gotta want to like actually do this kind of work and have some basic requirements? Or like what? How did you go about like that hiring process?
So that's a good question. We have like our manual now. Like we have it pretty like systemized. Like like we're doing driveways in 15 minutes.
That's really good.
Like
Yeah.
we're like it's to change like all day. The guys are smooth. Like it's every guy knows what they're good at, and
Yeah.
they do what they're good at. And then yeah, like we have manuals, and then again like having the right guys as team leads. So now it's at the point where I hire somebody, I might not even meet them for, like I met a guy today, doing the windows. Like
Well,
he's
how
been there
big's your team now?
uh,
How many staff like
like
total?
11
That's
on.
amazing,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Wow. You
it's
got a few trucks and stuff too, I guess, like
yeah.
for each of the teams to then go around from house to house.
Mhm.
How do you coordinate like how do you coordinate like what job to job based on like address in a day is being done? Like because that was one thing like when I wanted to do lawn mowing, I just want to make some quick cash.
Mhm.
I was like legit just put up a Kijiji ad and
Mhm.
I'm like let's just go mow some lawns.
Mhm.
And the most annoying thing was like when one house is in Navin and the other one's like in, like
Yeah,
near Blair.
yeah.
And for those who don't know, like that's like about like an almost 30-minute drive, and
Mhm.
it's just like this isn't worth the time.
Yeah.
So I gotta cut this person. Like, how have you gotten that systemized now?
And then again, that's something that started at with just laying out the contracts when I used to use paper. We use no paper now. When I used to use paper, I would just lay it out on the floor and then lay it just literally, okay, this postal code's K1Y, K1Y, line them up. Okay, that's like $1,000. That should probably take them one day. Like that's how it started. And now it's based off of like, again, it's all just set up in the computer.
Automated,
So
yeah.
like someone comes in from Westboro, like they won't be able to see other dates that are available unless it's near Westboro and it will fit in.
Right.
Like, but building those systems out, like when I was in Thailand, I spent time on the computer building that out. And I'm really big fan of putting like all like the tiny details that people don't notice, putting the work in, and then it saves you time.
Yeah.
And then I also like had my assistant anything that I don't like doing, I try to pay someone to do.
Yeah, that's a great way
Like I'm
to
trying
do
to
it.
add a few more people to help out, but like kind of what you're saying earlier, like hey, like you made a point Hayden said about ordering your food, like anywhere I can, if it's costing me less than let's say $50 to do in that hour, I'm gonna pay someone else to do it. And when it makes sense, like you can't start cutting corners and using money for for everything, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's certain things that you have to do yourself,
yeah, yeah.
but
I mean, working out is not something you can outsource.
no, that's
Unfortunately.
something I actually enjoy though.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, yeah,
enjoy working out,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah,
but yeah, like posting ads on Kijiji, it's like, oh man, like,
yeah, yeah.
no. Mhm.
No, completely. Yeah, I get that, man, and that kind of brings me to like, one of the last big things I really wanted to talk to you about before I let you go. I know we could sit and just chat for
Yeah,
hours, though, man.
yeah, seriously.
Um, is the travel and how important it is for you to be able to. You've set something up that I don't want to say envy, but
Mhm.
I really look up to, in that you can remove yourself from your business operations. Talk to me about the impact of being able to do that and how travel plays a role in that.
Yeah, so that's like that being able to step away is that's every some people get stuck in their business forever, and I'm not fully out yet. Like I'd say it's another 3 years until it's just sort of collecting more or less. Um, but yeah, like it's putting the right people in like putting the right people in the right places, and really like taking the time. Like if you hire somebody new, like let's say you're gonna hire a new assistant to help you out with this, it's like every little thing, just point it out, do it right, groom them, make them a mini version of you.
Yeah.
If that's what you can do with everybody, and then trust with them, like that's the key. And it is nice being able to know that if I wanted like like if I wanted to turn my phone off for the most part, like I can forward my calls to like someone else on the team, and I could just go off the map if I want to.
Like you did. How long were
Yeah.
you in Thailand? Like when you went?
It was like close to 3 months. Yeah, it's
No,
like
it's
8, 10 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
that's a big personal goal I have is I want to travel 6 months out of the year.
Hmm.
I don't want to be in Canada, or at least Ottawa.
Hmm.
I need to be somewhere warmer.
Uh,
I'm not a big winter fan.
mm,
Call me what you want. I just, it's not for me, man.
yeah.
I'm an Indian. I legit got like
Yeah.
blood that needs the heat.
Yeah.
I do not do well with winter. I tried, dude. Trust me. I'm 20. I've been here for like 25 years, man, and I just every year
Hmm.
don't fuck with it. So I'm trying to set up those systems, and that's something I'm quite frankly struggling with. Though it's not easy to get. When you have this mindset of, well, fuck, it'd just be easier if I just did it myself.
Mm,
I'm really trying to unlearn and untrain that and just trust that things will get done. And when they don't, learn from that and like teach so that things can get done. But
yeah.
it's just it's just hard to outsource some things. It really just is, right? And
Hmm.
that's just the learning process. It hasn't even been a year I've been in business, so I had to cut myself a bit of slack there, but
Hmm.
trying my best to just I doing that audit again and just like, what do I need to do? I can't outsource this.
Yeah.
I enjoy this, and but I can outsource the editing.
The editing. Oh, you've been.
I'm not
Yeah.
editing.
No,
Like,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
learned that pretty quick.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna edit.
No.
The social media, a
Hmm.
lot of that, and then even dude, I'll tell you, like, I don't even watch the clips of my podcast anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
don't make those clips anymore, because I just hate watching my podcast.
Who are you using for that?
I actually there's this girl Hillary. We actually recently just brought her on.
Hmm.
She's an intern for the company,
Yeah.
and she's a communication student at Ottawa U, and
Okay.
she's great. She does a great job. She
Yeah.
finds the clips, and it's taken such a load off. Shout out to
Yeah.
Hillary,
Yeah.
because I hate sitting, and I was there. I
Mm.
know what we talked about.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit and watch
Yeah.
that whole thing again,
Yeah.
and I do it sometimes because it's good to watch yourself
Reflect,
for
yeah.
a game film almost as an athlete.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
oh, why did I say like so much? Why
Mhm.
did I interrupt him? Like, this and that. But I think I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I'm just gonna be me and just talk,
Yeah.
and whatever happens happens.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all that to say, systemizing processes, removing yourself from the business, working on the business, not in it. Those are like vital tips for anybody who's just trying to take their side hustle, freelance, whatever thing that they're doing, and turning it into a legitimate business that even could be sold one day, you know?
That's kind of the end goal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you need that exit strategy, because if you're just it's like everyone romanticizes business, I think, because it's like entrepreneurship is like the wave right now and it's
Hmm.
this sexy thing, right? But if you're just trading your 9 to 5 job to just go work basically a job for your clients, you now just basically built something that a job you can't quit now.
Hmm.
Now you just built something where it's just like
Yeah.
you're kind of now just a slave with a new master, like if that makes
Well,
sense.
and that's the thing too that I think a lot of like social media, they definitely like present it in the wrong way. Is you like when you're an entrepreneur, you are not like, yes, like you can reach that point where you do whatever, and technically, like if I said, okay, screw it, like I'm for the next 3 days, like I'm just gonna go do binge in my room, like
Yeah,
like whatever, and just hide out from the world for 3 days. Like I know I'm still gonna be making money,
right.
but at the end of the day, like as an entrepreneur, you are not. You're at the end of the day, your employees are your boss, and all your clients are your boss. Like if I'm like, oh, like you still have commitments, and if anything, you have two bosses, like the people that you work for
Yeah,
and the customers. Like you can step away, but
yeah.
anyone that is, if they're watching this and like, oh, I want to start a business so I can travel, like that is like you're 3 degrees away from that, and it is possible. But the first thing is like trying, well, doing something that can provide value, trying it out, and then yeah, doing it well, teaching someone, systemize. And I think every business owner is trying to get better at that. I'm trying to get better at that. I don't plan on doing. I don't know if Pal will go on for my whole life. Ideally, I'd like to have someone step in. One of the guys that I'm coaching now, someone that can take it over.
Yeah.
But again, like, I do want to do other things after this and bigger things and continue to try out other aspects. So it is important to have the systems and to make sure it does last for a while or can be sold. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, who's to say one day you won't fall out of love with it and it's
Hmm.
just not motivating for you and you just don't want to even do it
Hmm.
anymore. Then you could just start something else with some of the money that you've made with this. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Become a serial entrepreneur, or you could set yourself up to have that freedom to just I don't even want to, like,
Yeah.
what? And that's something that you kind of told me before, is like, one of your goals is like setting up your future family.
Hmm.
And that's like a huge thing, and I bet that's like such a driving force
Hmm.
for you, right? And I think you're gonna do it. I think you're gonna crush it.
Appreciate that.
Just keep going, man.
Hmm. Thank you very much.
Um, one of the last kind of topics, I know I said last before, but
Man,
I really want to
yeah,
pick your
no.
brain about this. But it's like, in terms of self-development, things you do to keep your mind sane on, we've talked about a lot of the pros of the business,
Hmm.
but there's definitely fucking struggles,
Hmm.
right? You probably definitely
Yeah,
go through it, right?
big time.
So when you do, what are your strategies to deal with that kind of stuff?
To deal with the struggles of going through a
The
business.
stress, the fires you got to put out, the constant dealing with humans and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Like, do you meditate, working out? I know you do that. Like, what are the kind of strategies, that the non-negotiable things, the things that you keep you grounded?
Yeah, like I don't want to make business seem like a highlight reel. Like there are times where I'm like, man, like it's a grind. Like it is hard. I've really leaned in the past. I've really leaned hard on I guess I'm a girlfriend guy. Like I when I had like two main girlfriends. I've been in Ottawa, and like they were both like helpful at different stages of my life. And that's something I leaned on. But now it's really just like is kind of getting in your own routine. Like I moved in by myself, so that also comes with its own mental challenges when you're doing your own business, living alone. It's kind of hard to find something. But yeah, for me, it's like working out, and then also just knowing that, I guess, like kind of like seeing both sides of the fence of like growing up with like without anything versus uh for people to say like money. I know money won't straight up. You can't go to the store and buy happiness, but money solves a lot of problems. Like if you ask someone their top 10 issues, like 8 of those probably could be solved with money.
Yeah.
So I am very big on, okay, like it sucks right now, but like my like I want to have like a family one day. Like I want to have a dog. That dog deserves a nice backyard. Like
Yeah.
you know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%,
Like
man.
I like, and in certain things, like yeah, like I do use material things. Like I'm like yeah, like I want to have a G wagon. I want to have a nice house. Like I want to make sure that my kids and my wife can go on trips,
Yeah.
do and enjoy that and not have to worry about money, because that is something that is extremely stressful and
Yeah.
a lot of people have issues with.
You know what? You know what, man? Like, why do we have to tiptoe around that? Like, wanting some of those things as well. Is it because like there's so many people out there who just tell you that, oh, like that stuff doesn't matter at all? Yeah, we know, but it still would be dope to have, and like it'd be great to have those things, not at all costs,
Mhm.
but of course, man. Like,
Yeah.
why do we like almost like maybe it's just that we're polite, like, but we want to make more money, not for the sake of having more money, but
Mhm.
to have more freedom, to have more control over our lives. And
Yeah.
if I want a fucking penthouse, why is that a problem for someone else if I fucking earned it? You know what I'm saying? I think it's, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
It could be a slippery slope if I define myself by the penthouse,
mhm.
but if I work my ass off and I can sleep at night knowing I'm not profiting off like fucking
Yeah.
child slaves or some weird shit,
Yeah.
like if I just earn my living,
Yeah.
fuck you. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
get my G wagon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. I don't know.
No, you're right on that. And it's something that for me, like I think, okay, like I don't want to be ever talking too much, and it's when we're getting the personal branding thing, I don't want to be on there being like, okay, this is how you make $5,000 a day, and then turn around and be like, hey, like your driveway ceiling's $400. Like that's a big like for me, it's like, okay, like I don't want to be like flexing or like too all about money when I'm dealing with so many people,
right.
I guess. But at the end of the day, like we're providing them with value, so like who cares if I'm on there like talking about money? But I think also, and again, this is something I could go on for a minute, is it's just like that whole like, oh, like people why don't we tax the rich people more? Why does like, and again, like there's both sides. I can see both sides of it. But the thing is, like, people don't put into perspective is like, yeah, Jeff Bezos is the richest guy in the world, but like that guy is like all these people that have money and are owning businesses, they have grinded and they did not go out every night and get drunk and get wasted and sleep in and then do brunch and blow their money. Like these people that are building stuff and now people all want a free handout from it. I think that's one sort of issue, is like society has this big like target against like capitalism and other people do it, like excelling. I think people have a hard time looking in the mirror and being okay, like anything that I don't have right now is my own fault.
It's so true, man. Like I have these conversations with people all the time who lean more towards that way, and like it's never like a me versus you kind of thing, but it's just like, okay, you're like complaining to me about like Jeff Bezos or whatever, but you use Amazon every day to buy shit.
Yeah.
And or like
Shit you don't need.
yeah, or like you're like, oh well, Apple is this fucking big corporate, whatever. Like fuck that from your iPhone.
Yeah.
So it's just like this hypocrisy. Like I think capitalism has done so much good for the world and society at its purest form. When you're looking at
capitalism is yes, it's a positive.
Right. When it gets messy and muddy is when it's like crony capitalism, and when it's like, crooked corruption and things like that, and abuse of power, and when that's used to do things that are not a net good for society, that's when I can hear people's point. But I don't know, it's something I struggle with as well. It's not easy to talk to people about because people really dig their heels in when it comes to these kinds of things. But at the end of the day, man, I want to be able to hear everyone's point of view and maybe like take something away from everybody, because there's no absolutes. Like it's not one or the other. Like it's so silly to think in binary terms like that. But I just think the statistics will show you. I'm from India, and the statistics will show you that like under more capitalist like rules and opening up the markets and stuff, it has brought like
Yeah.
a billion people like out
Hmm.
of poverty, you know.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot
Like
of
a
work to
China
do.
and
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do, and there's no perfect system. But like, anyways,
yeah.
I think like taking that down to the micro a bit, because talking macro, I don't think you and me are gonna sit here and solve
No.
anything. But micro, yeah, I think we could talk about one kind of final thing here is like the relationship with money. I think me included, up to even this year, and even now, I'm still working on unlearning these things. But
Mhm.
my relationship with money has been scarcity up until now.
Yeah.
It's been I don't have enough, and when I have it, I better hold it tight and save and just scrimp and just be like extremely like try to be frugal
Hmm.
and like just that's just what I've been
Yeah.
taught. It's how I've been like, you know,
Yeah.
raised almost. But the minute I started learning about abundance and that money is everywhere and that, you know what, like once in a while it's fucking good to just spend a lot of it just
Yeah.
because you want to
Yeah.
and because you can, because you know you could go get more. I think that shift has changed everything for me.
That will help people with starting businesses too. Like there's like think of it just if the money you've in this room, just knickknacks, shot glasses, like there's got to be at least 30 grand worth of little things in here that looking at it is nothing. Like you're surrounded by money. There's an unlimited amount of money. There's you should get up every day and be like who has my money. That's what I tell
I
myself.
like that. I like
It's
that.
like I
Who
get
has
up,
my money?
yeah, I'm like, okay, like
I might name this episode "Who Has My
who has
Money."
my,
No, no,
yeah.
I'm joking. I'm
No, no, but seriously, like I'm confident me and you right now, we could leave here, go knock on some doors on Wellington Street here and say, hey, my name's like here's our company. Our company is uh
Pad
in
pack.
pad pack. We do Instagram, we do custom created Instagram posts. We'll do 20 for you guys. It's gonna be $200. Me and you could find a 200. Me and you could we could walk home with $200 tonight and
Yep.
then send them put pictures tomorrow.
Yep.
Like that. Like people have to have that. There is a lot of money.
Yeah.
People obviously love spending their money more than they like doing it. Like
Yeah.
and that is mindset that I switched over. Like and now like and that's something I have to get better on is tracking. Like but now like I'm like okay like I care more about the money coming in than the money going out.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I don't spend money on dumb stuff. Like I spent like last week I spent like a lot. Like I spent like 14 grand, but like 8,000 of that was investments. Like
Yeah.
I put in a lot. I bought like 8 grand worth of stocks last week, and I thought about that stock buying. I spent 6 grand on one stock. I thought on that probably took me maybe 5 minutes before I pulled trigger on it. And then there's times where I'm like, oh, that shirt's like $15. This shirt's $9. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, I don't need either of those shirts. Like that's how I look at money now. I'm like, yo, like this money sitting here, I'm wasting it if it's just sitting here.
Yeah.
And it's even might as well just rip it up if I'm buying like useless stuff. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, at the end of the month, like more money's coming in, and like as long as money's flowing in, and I know I'm not spending it on dumb stuff, like I yeah, like the amount of times I
There's
call
no
my
way
bank,
not to win, man. And
yeah,
I think the biggest thing there is like you can't save your way to wealth.
no,
If you kept that 6,000 whatever you said
yeah,
in investments on one stock, if you kept that in your bank and it just sat there,
hmm
you'd lose money
hmm
next year because of inflation.
yeah,
Like, it's sitting there
hmm
is actually losing you money,
yeah,
which is like so against everything
yeah.
that you should be doing. But yeah, man. Honestly, like we do gotta end this.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I
We'll
love
cut
it.
it and continue a
No, no,
combo.
we'll definitely do a part two, man.
Mhm.
Like you're gonna be back on for sure. But before I end, as you know, I like to do my kind of lightning round,
Mhm.
and let's just dive right into that. So number one piece of advice to 17-year-old Adam. Number one thing, you meet him and you're like, yo, man, I gotta tell you one thing.
17-year-old, I'd say start putting your money into investments. Start putting your money into investments and learning skills that will be valuable down the road.
What's one thing life never prepared you for when it came to running your own business?
Uh,
Deep, huh?
yeah, that's one thing. Like,
You know, like you were never really completely, no one taught you that you have to X, like you have to worry about somebody's emotions, or you gotta.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to put words.
Yeah,
in
nobody. Yeah, nobody. One thing people tell you about business is that if think of how any way you'd cut a shortcut to try to make something easier or quicker, and then add 10 more steps to that, because that's how your people that you're working for you are gonna think. Like if there's a way to cut somewhere, like unless you have the right people on, like you have to think of like your mindset and then think of the complete opposite for anything. So like if you do it one way, what is the easiest way that someone could do this, and what's like the least efficient way someone could do this? And
Right.
people are going to try both. So it's
100%.
yeah, that's a hard question though. Yeah.
Last and final question: how do you want to be remembered?
I definitely want to be able to give back. Like again, like we talk a lot about money, and I do want to be able to like give back and make sure that I am able to help people that are growing up in similar situations with me. I'm not sure exactly, and that's something I've been thinking about a bit. But yeah, I would want to be remembered for being like, giving back and someone that works hard and followed through on what they say they're going to do. Honest.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you on social media and stuff?
My social media is Adam R. Chap for everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Got that. Got to start doing that better. Yeah. LinkedIn, and then PadPal, just PadPal CA. We're doing a Christmas drive. So we're still trying to figure out the numbers on that in terms of dollars and toys. But I went to Toys R Us yesterday, got some toys.
Sweet, man.
So that's the one thing I wanted to plug was if anyone has any new toys they want to donate, we're gonna try to raise a bunch of toys and money this year to give away, because I know this is gonna might be a tough Christmas for some people with everything going on.
Yeah.
And that's something to me that is important. So yeah, I went yesterday with a few of the guys, bought some toys to start us off. We're gonna be making an announcement this week. So if they have toys, to donate toys to PadPal.
Great stuff, man.
Awesome.
I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on here, bro. Just great convo, great podcast. Just remember, it's not that deep.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thanks,